Welcome to Heart to Heart. I am Marg Stark, and I'm an admin from San Diego, California.
And I'm Kim from Ontario, Canada.
And I'm Annette from South Carolina.
Heart to Heart is delighted today to have the woman who keeps all of the details on Hope Valley and is one of in the writer's room. We can't wait to hear more of the details from Allie Devereaux.
Thank you, Allie.
Hi. Thank you guys for having me back. I had so much fun last time. I was like, I can't wait.
Oh, good
again.
to do a post-season wrap up. I love it. So we know the last time we talked to you, you were just like on pins and needles waiting for Hardee's to, all of your hard work to be revealed and unwrapped. So how did you end up feeling about how the response was to all of this incredible work that you all produced?
It was so nice. And I mean, it was so fun being on Twitter. I got better at Twitter this season, I'll say, as the episodes went along, got some tips from Erin.
You did great. Yeah.
Erin gave me like a kind of crash course in Twitter. So, learning from the best, of course. So it was really nice because then I could, I was getting better at seeing the reaction in real time as it was airing, which was so fun because, it felt like I was watching with you guys and I was so excited. And there was some really big moments, like the engagement, of course, so beautiful. Little Jack with the ring. I couldn't wait for that. But even more, I couldn't wait for Rosemary and Lee's baby news because that just felt like it was so long time coming. And when Pascal does that, I'm still getting goosebumps. When Pascal does that, she feels the flutter. And she looks up, I was like, oh my gosh, I just can't wait for that to air because it's such a long time coming and such a good scene getting to throw the slippers out the window. So yeah, I'm so happy that it came through and that the audience got to see it and the Hardees got to be excited about it and I got to be excited with them. So yeah, it was just really nice.
Yeah, I think getting to see it over a course of a number, how many was it? 4 episodes where we found out that she could be pregnant. And I confess I had my doubts about that. And you guys totally paid it off. And it was so glorious to be able to experience that with her rather than just have the news break and then you're done for the season. It was really cool.
And I know it was important with the other writers was this discussion we had too, that since she had so much trouble, there are women that feel this way and they want to, be sure and be ready and they don't want to be disappointed. And so there was a lot of other parts to it that we wanted to consider with Rosemary's story. So I'm happy it played that way and that you felt it paid off too.
Totally. Yeah. So coming off season 8, which had a slightly different, different audience reaction, I think to the end of season 8, I would imagine that the team and probably Hallmark had certain expectations, at least in terms of tone, that they sort of set out for you. Maybe some, I don't know if you want to call it a mandate, but things that they sort of suggested that they would like to see. You tell me, is that how it works? And so were there certain expectations that were established or things that they wanted or that you all wanted to accomplish on a whiteboard in season 9? And did you feel that you did that?
Well, yeah, obviously, when you start with a season and you start talking about it, we, at least with John, started talking character and kind of figuring out where we left them, where we wanted to see them, where, the audience wanted to go. It was a bit of a polarizing kind of ending in season 8. So we did want to make sure that, everyone kind of felt, like they were being heard too, and that they could still feel welcome in Hope Valley. So, as for mandates, I don't think there was any real mandates. There were some things we obviously had to establish quickly since we had a new Little Jack. We wanted scenes with, Elizabeth and Little Jack and Lucas and Little Jack to get those bonding, not just with the characters, but with the actor too, because he was a new young actor on our set, new child actor.
Yes.
So there were some things like that to consider. And then I know a big theme that they wanted was progress in Hope Valley versus Hope Valley kind of staying to its core. So that was something that they kind of wanted to deal with all season. And that was something that kind of went arced through all the episodes. So even right from the beginning, that was something that they wanted to carry through for season 9. So that's kind of how we took it. And then stories kind of developed from there.
Does Hallmark typically give you any notes at the start of the season?
How it worked, John would have some conversations before, we got fully started. And then we would start talking together and then send kind of what, we thought, usually in paragraph form kind of thing, to Hallmark. Then they'd give their notes. It's really collaborative in that way.
Right.
So we're never getting too far ahead without hearing from them.
Yes.
But they kind of let us go a little bit at the beginning to figure out, where we want to go. And then they'll put in, an idea. They want this, or they'd like to see a little more of this, or they really love this, so we want to do more of it as we go. But it's really collaborative in that way, which makes it kind of really fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we know humor. We've heard Brian Bird and I think John too say that humor and sort of some light touches were appreciated as we sort of emerged from the pandemic. We hope we're emerging from the pandemic.
Yeah, definitely. And it felt like, we wanted to get like, we come in season 9 with a big balloon, to kind of just like, this is a happy place to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I think it definitely kicked off that way and felt lighter. I mean, obviously and at the same time it had, as we've talked about with Henry and with Cooper and with infertility and Rosemary, there were some themes that were serious, but it was always very nicely woven with that lightness and that humor. So it's very cool.
Kind of how you hope life will be.
Well, yes, a nice balance would be good.
Yeah, it's what you hope for.
And so did you feel like in the end that you were able to fulfill and accomplish what you set out to do in season 9?
I think so. I think definitely there was a lot to get done and there was lots of stories, but I like looking back in the season, I still feel like it was, really strong and we got to tell some really good stories and answer some things that people have been waiting for a long time.
Yes.
So yeah, like looking back, I feel it was a good season. I hope the Hardys felt that way too.
Oh, I think so, definitely. And I still marvel at the ensemble. It's just a very big cast and there's a lot of threads and a lot of storylines to carry through. So I think you did justice to a lot of those story arcs. I feel like a lot of people were really well showcased. So I think we were happy.
Yeah.
So you wrote an episode and I imagine you were very proud of that. We were so happy for you for that. Was there anything else that you felt personally really proud about in this season?
Well, yeah, like I was so I'm so honored to have been a part of the show since season 8 and like be part of this like community for sure. Like I just feel really lucky that I get to have had this experience. So yeah, just being a part of it was really exciting to me. But there are some storylines that I felt really connected to that weren't even in 9. But like, for example, with Cooper and Angela, I felt really connected to that kind of storyline. My sister, I have a twin sister, and she got sick when we were 16, and now she's disabled and has like some lasting heart conditions and everything. But we're identical twins, so I really, when we were talking about Cooper, I was like, this. I really feel it because I understand having those questions like, why her and why not me? And I wish I could, take on some of it. And it just, there's some parts where it doesn't feel fair. And there's no answer to that. So like, just, sitting through it as a child, I was still only 16, didn't know how to totally process it.
Wow.
And even now I don't know how to fully process it all the time, but like those, that story itself just felt like I just felt really connected to it. So getting to see it on our show and getting to even see like those conversations that Cooper got to have with Joseph about it was just really nice and kind of healing for me. So I just feel really proud that got to be there on the show. Yeah. And to go a little lighter, don't want to leave you on like a sad note. I'm also really proud of the mean book reviews because I wrote them. So and Erin told me that her and Pascal were impressed by how mean they were. So I'll also be proud of that.
You go.
Okay. Boy, the two sides of Allie right there. Devil, angel, devil, angel.
Yes, exactly.
Was there anything that ended up surprising you this season?
Well, I will say I was really not sure how the balloon was going to look when we first were talking about it because we got all these I found all these reference photos of like really old timey balloons, but obviously on set we didn't have that. We had it was a crane, and they had the art department found this really awesome basket. Like the basket was actually like era appropriate. That's why it's so short because it's from the real time. That's how the baskets were, and they attached it to this big crane, and then it went up. So what we got when we saw, the video from that day when we were watching it the next day, we weren't really sure how it was going to end up looking because we had just like some sketches, and it took a while, because then it goes off to VFX, and then we don't see it until it gets to like the final cut of what it's going to look like. So I was like not sure, how it was going to pull off, because all we saw was this big screen and like the actors in this crane and like this old timey basket, but it did not look like a balloon. So getting to finally see how the balloon turned out, I was like, oh, like, wow, I think it looks really good.
Yeah,
really good.
You mentioned about it being short, because I thought, they surely have them standing on a stool in there in order to be able to see as much of their torso as you could. But I guess it makes sense, that the people's stature was much smaller, so they didn't have to make things as tall.
Oh yeah, I was just looking at it, I'm like, it looks so short, but it's the period appropriate. And obviously everybody was really safe. Probably safer than they were back in 1919 in the air balloon. I don't think it was
you guys get to see the dailies.
Yeah, we do get to see the dailies.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said you didn't until after the visual effects.
We get to see the dailies, but even in the dailies, they're just in a little basket on a crane.
Right, just a basket.
So I didn't know how it was going to look. If it was going to look like a balloon. And Peter had these great designs, and no doubt, never doubt. I
can only imagine. Yes,
because he's always going to pull it off. But I was looking at it and was like, okay, like I can't quite see it yet, but I trust you. And then it ended up looking great. So I was surprised by that.
It's beautiful.
That's so neat. Well, before we get to the Hardy's questions, we wanted to spend a little time tracing the overall story arcs of a few of our favorite characters. So can we start with Molly? If change and growth and the coming industrial age was prominent in Hope Valley, well, Molly seemed to kind of play harmony to this theme, comfortable being single, also missing being taken care of, embracing some modern notions, but wanting to preserve common courtesy with her etiquette column. And can you tell us about the role you think Joanna's character played in Hope Valley this season?
I really love Molly, like the character. She's been there since season 1, like since the very first episode. We saw her as one of the widows and with Rosaline, and I just really feel connected. One of the first episodes when I came on the show and was watching was season 1, episode 3, when Rosaline is in the mine, and that scene where Molly is like, they're like, Molly should go home, and she's like, no, I have to go look for my daughter. That was when I was hooked on the show. Yes. Was that moment. So I really feel connected to Molly. I think she's a great character, and I kind of love that this season, we got to see her interacting with other people. She was kind of all over trying. She was experimenting with interior design.
Right.
Also still in the infirmary. Like we got to see her in a few more places. And it was light and fun in some ways, but it was also balanced with like her and Florence facing the mine reopening and kind of what that brought back up. So I think this season we really get to see her like walk that line, exactly what we were talking about before about, light balanced with kind of some, heavier moments. That was really shown with Molly this season. So I think that her character kind of did embody a lot of the themes. And it's funny because it wasn't in a really obvious way. It was just, she was there and like a constant in Hope Valley, which I think Molly has been since season 1. So yeah, I'm so team Molly.
Yeah, and I think people, of course, are wondering what's going to happen with her flirtations with Bill Avery, and you guys just kind of slipped that right in there at the final moment. So we're kind of left hanging about what's going to happen there. Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I love that we've seen that Molly has been this kind of romantic. Like we've seen her, she's had some crushes in town and they've been mentioned. I know she had a crush on the barber. She kind of had a little crush on Carson when he came. Like we've seen her sort of starting to get ready.
Right, I forgot.
And then, now we've kind of started to see something a little bit deeper with Bill, that she, it's not just a crush that seems to be going away for her. So I think that that's really fun. And hopefully we get to see more of like where that goes, because, I think especially like what we're saying with Molly and how she grows, I think, we get to see her as this, constant town. It'd be nice to see her find a little love in her life, I think.
For sure.
Yeah.
Cheryl Parquette from North Carolina noticed in our group that Molly had an intriguing, happy look on her face after returning from driving Bill to Union City, and she was eager to share. So we're all dying to know what that might have been about, but I'm sure you're not going to tell us.
Well, I was going to say, I think that's going to be something for season 10. And I mean, I would hope that it would get answered pretty quickly in season 10.
Let's just go through the options. There's, there's possibility that Bill's treatment is going, already off to a good start just the minute she dropped him off. I don't know. What else? What are the other
with Molly, you never know. Maybe somebody else has caught her eye. Like, who knows? With Molly.
The orderly who came out to get Bill at the hospital. Oh, that's funny. Or maybe she wants to start a driving school because
she's
pretty
good at the
idea.
There's clearly a lot of people who need to learn to drive in Hope Valley.
And I like that it's the women that are kind of showing them up a little bit. Fiona has a driver's license. Yeah. We saw that. Elizabeth was teaching Nathan how to drive, one of my favorite scenes of the season.
Hilarious.
So yeah, I like that this is kind of continuing, that we see, that, we're swapping the expectation a little bit, that the women are the good drivers in Hope Valley.
But Hardy's, of course, wanted it to veer romantic, that maybe she had something to tell Faith about Nathan, or, maybe there was something revealed in the trip.
I really love their dynamic, kind of seeing Molly and Faith. And I hope we can kind of see the two of them, because they didn't get a lot of romance in season 9. So I hope we can see them kind of helping each other through romance in season 10. Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Well, another character is Allie. We heard John say that they would love to have had more time and more opportunity to explore the father-daughter dynamic. She's calling Nathan dad. She's calling Robert Wolfie, and she's pining to call someone mother. Jolene Snyder of Des Moines noticed. What do you make of Allie and where she is in her development?
I love Allie, and not just because she has an awesome name, obviously. And she spells it the right way, okay? She spells it the perfect way. But I do love her, and I love how we've gotten to see her grow on the show. Like, she started off, kind of spunky. She didn't want to fit in. She didn't really want friends. She's kind of bounced around a little bit with Nathan's postings. So she just didn't want to put any roots down, and that was really clear when she first came. She was pushing everyone away. So like, to see her growth from that to like now, it's her and her dad, like Nathan's her dad figure now, and she's calling him dad, and they have that relationship, which is so beautiful. And she has like a best friend in Robert. Like, what a great duo. And she has all these amazing people around her and this huge support system. So I think it's just kind of amazing to see how far she's grown. And, I think that it would be, obviously she's, searching for, a mother figure, but it's nice to see that she still has all these amazing women to kind of guide her, even obviously Elizabeth, fills a lot of that role as like her teacher and her mentor. But we also saw, the scene with May and Faith in the barbershop with Allie, where they're giving her advice. So Allie has lots of people in town, and Hope Valley, the way it is like Hope Valley is a family. So they all are making sure that as she grows, she has someone to lean on. And I think that that's like so beautiful. And it's what the show is.
I think it's really beautiful too. I think on Mother's Day, it's nice to look around at a host of women who may have mothered you in some way or contributed to your development. So I think Allie's got a lot of people to turn to.
Yeah.
So but still about
Pressure.
Go
She's
ahead.
putting the pressure on. She's putting the screws on.
Oh boy.
I kind of think that Nathan needs a little pressure. It's fun to see him squirm a little bit with her.
Yeah.
Probably so. Probably so.
So
Did you want to say
about
something else, Annette?
I have another question about Allie. What do you think her next steps might be? Because we love seeing our young actors growing up before our eyes. So if it were up to you, what would you like to see her doing in season 10?
Well, yeah, like it's exactly what you said. Like they're growing up. Like she's coming into an age where, you know, she would start to be thinking about maybe what it is she wants to do when she grows up. So I would love to see her kind of, you know, starting to figure out. She has so many amazing role models in town. And so, you know, I just think it would be so awesome to see her explore some of the avenues of like these amazing people that are around her. So, you know, in a season 10, I would love to see Allie kind of, you know, exploring what it is she wants to do, what she's passionate about, what she's good at, you know, get to see her.
We know she's really good at math, right?
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see what her other talents are too. Like, you know, I just think it would be nice to see her figure out maybe what it is she wants to do.
Yeah.
The show's about your calling. So it'd be nice to kind of see her.
Oh, I love that
to figure it out
about your calling. I hadn't really put two and two together with that. That's very cool. There were a lot of a lot of characters this season who were kind of looking for their calling, I think. So that makes a lot of sense. And one of those was definitely Lucas. It seems like, you know, we've talked a fair amount in Heart to Heart about Lucas and Elizabeth, and we've talked about Lucas and this plot with Jeanette and the, you know, Wyman Walden and all of that. But, you know, Lucas is really going through some stuff this season too. You know, it seemed like he was sort of integrating into his personality, or his development, these new things, which are a new, like, settled love in his life and the potential for a family life. So, you know, maybe his going rogue, drawing outside the lines of justice, maybe we've seen that come to an end. I don't know. And then, of course, his wanderlust, we saw that touched upon a little bit. What are the internal struggles that you imagined for Lucas, and how might you imagine those manifesting in the story going forward?
Yeah, so I agree with you. It definitely felt like, you know, we saw a lot of Lucas sort of searching in this season. He was doing some soul searching, kind of, you know, figuring out. We got to see him trying things we've never seen before, and in situations we've never seen him before. And like, you know, when he was watching Little Jack. Another scene I love so much is when he's in the school teaching, and we see he's actually a great teacher. Like, he has great instincts, you know, with the kids. And so we're sort of seeing him grow in that way, and you know, step up into these new roles, and embrace them. I think it was, you know, kind of keeping in mind all these things he was doing. Each episode we saw him grow a little more, you know, leading to the place where he felt, you know, he's ready to propose to Elizabeth, because we've seen all this growth of them, you know, together and individually. So I think that was sort of, you know, what we got to see with him this season. And going forward, I think, you know, now he's got this in him, this, you know, sense of, you know, figuring it out and rising to the occasion and being a great dad to little Jack, a great stepdad. So I think we'll see a little bit more of that. And I hope we do, because I think that's how he grows.
Okay. Do you imagine with the, you know, with the teaching, or I mean, is that something that we'll see him develop, or what?
Yeah, I think it's so interesting because he took to it so well.
Yeah.
So you know, I don't know where it will go, but you know, I think it's interesting to see how well he took to it, and that Elizabeth noticed how well he took to it too.
Yeah.
The kids did.
The kids did too. They said, "Please come back." We definitely want Lucas substitute Mr. Bouchard.
The Donna Berry of North Carolina submitted a question, and she said, you know, in Elizabeth and Jack's courtship, they seem to butt heads a lot. And perhaps initially they weren't as demonstrative, not as much PDA as Lucas and Elizabeth had. Can you tell us about Lucas and Elizabeth's dynamic as a couple. And we heard that Elizabeth had mentioned, Stuart had mentioned that there could be some little stumbling blocks in their now engaged couple life. What might you imagine is coming their way?
Well, I think it's interesting, talking about their dynamic, that they are a different couple than Elizabeth and Jack were. And that's great. Like, it's nice that she has this love with Jack. Like, this is an amazing love story that she had. And then she just has this new love with Lucas. It's a different love. And that's really nice. And it's so great to see her getting to have that love. So yeah, I think that that's a fun dynamic, seeing how different they are from her original couple that we saw her on the show. But I think that's interesting in a way too, because marriage as she knows it was to Jack. So, we'll get to see some of wedding planning, kind of figuring out where their tastes might differ, where their tastes might surprise each other, because, that's part of what happens when you're planning things together. So, we'll get a sense of who they are, and they might be able to surprise each other still, which I think will be really fun.
Okay. I like it. All right.
Neat. Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine some of that. Is he going to go sort of Bouchard over the top, wanting
Grand
to
gesture.
do a wedding, big gestures, and is she going to want something simpler, or maybe it'll be vice versa? I don't know.
And they even differed on the season. They might want to wedding.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And
they have some different tastes, and it's nice to kind of figure out where the tastes might meet, and how to figure that out together. And I mean, Lucas comes from we met Helen Bouchard and see how she is and what he would maybe imagine from being raised by her. And then we've also met the Thatchers, so the world Elizabeth comes from as well, even though she's been in Hope Valley for a while now. She was raised in that lifestyle a little bit too.
Yes, she was.
Well, and of course, little Jack was integral to the proposal, so you can only imagine what he will do at the wedding.
I feel like he would want to be the ring bearer.
Yeah,
he's going to feel attached to the ring because he already had it.
Right.
So he loves rocks. So,
it's like the perfect setup.
I think he'll feel attached to it. I don't know about little Jack, but Highland loves cars, so I have a feeling he would want to be in some of those cars. Yeah. Yes, that's a little fun fact about Highland. Whenever he sees a car on set, he wants to get in the old car. So he always wants to point to the car, and they're like, when we're done the scene, you can get in the car.
That's neat. Yeah. I do hope we get to see Helen Bouchard again in season 10. Yeah.
What a fun character. I mean, I love when we get to bring characters back. It's always so fun and good callbacks, and it's nice for the Hardys to see. So I hope season 10 will see some familiar faces. Like, I'm really hoping for that too.
But I'm pushing for Hickham's sisters, frankly. I need to see all those sisters.
All of them together.
All of them.
And you know what?
On.
Fiona also has a whole bunch of siblings too. So
that's right.
Have fun. If their families get together.
Yeah, set up the Millers.
Yeah.
Just
the saloon would be full.
We'll blow the budget right there.
Yep. Wedding dresses for everybody.
Oh my heavens. So talking about Lucas's second home, the saloon. Claudia Buchanan from Texas wondered how the production team made the fire look so realistic. The fire was a resolution of Hickham's fire safety platform, and for a few moments we feared for Lee's safety with him not knowing Rosie was pregnant. But what consequences of the fire might become central in season 10?
We're like challenging you here, Allie. We're like giving you two questions.
Details.
I'm like, let me just go to the first one. Okay.
Right.
So the fire itself did look so good, right? Like I was so impressed, especially because that was smoke and lights. Like it was
really
so yeah.
It was amazing.
Peter DeLuise and our special effects coordinator, Sammy, who is incredible. Like the stuff that they can do. So I remember watching the test and I was walking up. It was one of the days I actually got to be on set. They were testing it because I was there for 9/10, the block when they were shooting 9/10. And they were testing it and I was like, it looks like it's on fire. Like it's And so it looked so good, and not
Totally.
just on camera, but in real life, it looked good too. I have a
Wow.
phobia of fire, so my heart was like starting to race. But yeah, it looked really good, and I think that they pulled it off, which is in such an amazing way. Because we do have some issues with fire in BC in the summer, so we have fire bans and stuff, so we can't always have fire. But I still think it looked so good. It looked like the saloon was really
I thought it was
in
on
trouble.
fire.
Yeah,
like a contained fire, but I thought there was really fire.
Yeah, no, it was
Wow.
fully safe. Yeah, it
Well
was lights
done.
and smoke.
Wow.
So we can just give huge props to the production team, who are
Yes.
all incredible. I can't even fathom what they do. Sometimes it's like magic to me. Like, feels like it's an illusion.
Well, I'm sure it's vice versa too. I'm sure they're like, don't get me near the writing. No.
I saw them burning the so when they're inside, they did burn one piece separate, like at the wall of the saloon that's all burnt up. They had like a mock-up of the wall, and Sammy took me over and he's like, come on, Allie, come see it. And he like showed me it was all scorched and how it looked, and then they placed it over the wall in the saloon to show that like burnt area of how it looked. So it was all like super safe and contained, and never was the saloon actually on fire. Sorry to burst the bubble.
Wow.
but
okay.
but
it's fascinating.
It is
fascinating,
amazing, right? Like, it looks so good. And then the saloon fire, I'm hoping, this is my own hope again, because I'm saying I have a phobia of fire, so it may just be me, but I feel that Hickam was right, and that Hope Valley has had so many fires that I think they really do need some fire safety plans. So that's my hope for season 10, that somebody finally implements them, because I'm like, we've had the church has been on fire twice, the Mayor's Shack was on fire, like we've had so many fires, the Derrick fire. Yeah, they need some fire safety. Maybe they need some fire drills. I don't know. Like, the town needs a fire bell, something. Yeah.
yes, it does.
I think they need. So yeah, my hope for the consequences of the fire is that maybe that's the last fire before they have a plan in place for the fire.
But okay, so the stove was clearly involved, but do we think that somebody started the fire? I'm just
sabotaged. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's a sabotage. I feel like it was just the stove, but you never know.
That's true.
Well, those pot-belly stoves, they are notorious. So.
Well, Lucas was so wistful about that dart, and it's like, what is my legacy going to be now? And it's very interesting.
It was oh my gosh, I felt for Lucas when he rode in and saw his saloon on fire, though.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, can you imagine coming back from like a camping, he's up in the woods, he's trying to
little
have some peace. Yeah. Exactly. And he comes in and it's like, goodbye, peace and quiet. Back in action right away.
Totally. Yeah.
So May, Minnie, Fiona, if you had to pick one of their storylines that you're most intrigued to follow up in season 10, which one would that be?
Okay, what are you doing to me? Making me pick between these characters? What the heck?
Let's put her in the hot seat.
That's really hard, because I really love all three of those characters. I think that they're just, really strong women, and I think there's things I want to see from all three of them.
That's what I was hoping you were going to say.
Yeah, it was a sneaky
well, you
way.
You can just outline all three of them if you'd like.
I think for May, I want to see something light. I mean, she had such a rough time with Jeffrey and all of that hanging over her, and then I just think, as soon as I saw Jeffrey, I was ready for him to be gone. I was like, he needs to leave May alone. Like, she, so I think, having had that, rough time, I think it's time to see some light fun for her. So, I would hope that in season 10, she would get to have some fun, because we get to see some really fun moments in Hope Valley. And because she had everything kind of hanging over her in season 9, I don't think she really got to fully enjoy it in a way that she would have if she didn't have Jeffrey hanging over her. Like, she finally came back just in 12 with so my hope for May would be that she gets to have some light fun in season 10. For Minnie, I would, I just think she's like so strong and such a great mom. But, she has shared little bits about some of the stuff that might have happened to her and her family before they came to Hope Valley. So I'd love to hear, a little bit more of that. I love to see her when she's opening up, making these deep friendships. I'd love to see her have some like great friends.
Oh, yeah.
In season 10, like, if we could see that with her, and just so she has, she's, starting to have these support systems, but I just love to see that grow.
Mhm.
I'd also love to, hear a little bit more about her family, because it seems, that they're kind of definitely interesting. So hopefully we would hear a little bit more about their family in season 10. That would be a hope. And then Fiona, I love Fiona. I think, she is a woman working in a man's world. And I've been in that situation, where I was the only woman in the room. And I just kind of love that she's like holds her own. And that she has this great like business sense, this like drive for business. And so I'd love to see her have some more like success in business in season 10. Like see her, whether that's with a company or on her own. I just want to see her have some, some real business success. Maybe do something more with the barbershop. I don't know. I just would love to see her have something that has a little more success in business, because I think she's earned it.
Yeah, it was Arthur, right? That was the weird
Gilchrist.
Yeah.
Gilchrist.
What do we think? Is he sticking her? Will he come back around, or
just felt like he was not reading the signs, huh? Like it just felt like she was really clearly saying no, thank you. So but I do appreciate that she stood her own in that situation, and she never was like, oh, sorry if I led you. Oh, she never had that. She was like, this is
clear.
Clear. We are professionals, and it's going to remain professional. And I like that she didn't apologize for anything. She just was like, this is how it is, and you need to listen to me when I say it. So, I think that's inspiring in a way, because sometimes it's hard to say that.
Very hard.
So I'm glad she got to do that. Even though I feel bad that it happened to her, because nobody likes that when it happens.
No. Yeah. But in your mind, that's kind of resolved.
Yeah, I think she kind of stood her ground and made it really clear. And I think, in my mind, I think that's resolved.
Okay.
But it's hope Allie knows.
We love the whole notion of the When Calls the Heart show Bible that you are responsible for. So when the writers are bouncing around ideas, what role does it play in the discussion? And do they ever ask you, has this eventuality ever happened to anyone in Hope Valley before?
Yes, we definitely talk about it. It comes up. Sometimes, I try to wait my turn, but sometimes I'm the annoying kid in the front row of the class as well.
Go, girl.
If I feel it, and because I get this, having made it, and I always, every, season when we start, I rewatch the whole series and I update the Bible so that I watch it as a whole, including the most recent season. So then I can add in and, make sure we have it really fresh.
How many times do you have to stop in order to like put it in? I mean, you're like, okay. I mean, literally.
Because I stop a lot because I take screenshots. There's photo references in this Bible as well, so that people know. Like it's not just words. The people can have it, and it's searchable. So then, as we go through the season, then if something comes up where we're like, I think this is really similar to something in season 2, we have the exact verbiage. We can go in, find it where it happened, how that settled, how it worked out. So we can, either be like, okay, well, we've already kind of settled that. We don't want to double beat it. Or we can be like, what, we can grow from this. So sometimes it inspires other ideas. And then we get those moments that are callbacks. And, I think that that's really fun. And it's just a good resource to have. And I feel really proud of it in a way that, it's something that took a lot of time, but it's helpful. And, it's become sort of our just resource for anyone who needs it.
Is it like on a Google Drive?
It is on Google Drive.
Okay, so they can search it
in a cloud kind of thing. But there's a PDF version that exists as well. That if we were in the room, it would be in a binder, just so everybody could quickly go through. But it's so big now that it takes up a lot of space. So it's not something that can be shared easily. You have to have like a link to it because it's so large now. Because it's so many pages and it has photos in it. So just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But I love it. And every time I watch, I rewatch it or I'm watching an episode, there might be something that I didn't notice because, it might be my 5th time watching it. So then I can notice something in the background. I'm like, oh, great. Okay. This is awesome. It's great that we know it. Then I can put it in the Bible as well. Just so it's a reference. Because, I know that there are people that are watching that are noticing those things too. So the more we can add, the better.
It's fantastic.
That's amazing.
It's a big document now. Like, but I think it is helpful to have, and it's helpful for me
Yes.
too. It's a great refresher. So when I was on set for episode 9, Ben told me that I should do a trivia contest against Aaron because, and I was like, oh man, that would be intimidating. Anyone else I think I could take, but I'm like a little nervous. Yeah, but I think anyone else that wants to challenge me, I think I could take them. I'm not going to be so cocky that I could say I could take Aaron, but anyone else.
How about
Take
all the
Aaron,
Hardys?
take Aaron. You can do it.
That will be the next the Hardys family reunion. It'll be like a big Jeopardy or something. I can be the Alex Trebek.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Love that
Jeopardy.
idea.
Yeah,
Love it.
I'm down.
Well, and I hope you heard our heart to heart with Kevin McGarry, because he would like #water jump added to any future seasons need to have a horse water jump. Also a motorcycle water jump. Those are his requests.
He wants to be on the horse and the motorcycle. Maybe
not at the same time. Not at the same time. But both of them are going to jump water. So
yeah,
I'm just passing that on.
We have a lot of water in Hope Valley. But we only have one motorcycle, so I'm not sure.
Wow. Yeah.
Lots of horses though. But.
Right.
Lots of horses. Yeah, lots of amazing horses.
#water jump.
Water jump.
It'll be the new thing.
Who knows? I have to say, that's not my forte when it comes to horse stunts. Okay. But I love them. It's not something I know, in my own background, but I love learning about them. So even, on being on the show, being in the horse and wrangler meetings, and they're describing things, so cool. Oh my gosh. And then I watch how it turned out. I'm like, that's what they were talking about. But, yeah.
So cool.
Some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we have pregnancy and birth, a wedding, a fight to free Henry, and the hope that Bill responds to treatment. These are some big moments that Hardys anticipate for season 10. But looking back over season 9, which storyline moments did you find most satisfying? Either the big epic ones or the smaller ones?
Oh, that's so tough because there's like so many storylines, and there's some that have personal connections, like I was saying with the Cooper storyline. Again, that one is always going to just be really like just close to my heart. So I remember watching it with my sister too, and just kind of had this moment, and so I really felt like that was so. It's kind of a small moment. It's not the biggest flashy kind of chase or catch the bad guys or even a crazy romantic. We have some awesome romantic moments too, but just that little moment just felt so real to me and to my life that I feel when I think back on the season, that's probably what I'll feel strongest about. That being said, watching as a Hardy, there are so many other moments that I'm really connected to as well. The scene with Gowan and the widows is so powerful. Like it just felt like it was, 9 seasons of time, just like leading up to it, and you just really felt for him. And I remember when it was leading up, it's like he's at his moment where he's like, there's nothing else I can do. And then we see him blow up the mine. He's like, I am done. I'm just gonna get rid of this huge thing over my head. And yeah, that was a huge moment. And I hope it's one that's remembered for a long time, because I'm not going to forget it. I think it's so powerful.
No question. Yes.
Yeah.
No question. Yeah, that was we did a poll of the Hardys and of what they wanted to see in season 9, and that redemption story piece for Henry and redemption for him was right up there. And then among the admins, we did a different poll, and the scene with Joseph with Henry in the jail was our all-time favorite of the season. Yeah.
It's such a special scene. There's so many people that really connect to it too, because it's just a different side of Gowan than we've ever seen. We've seen him be so many roles in town, but seeing him like that vulnerable, it just, I don't know, I feel like so much more connected to him in a way, because I feel like he let us in, the audience, in a way that we got to see inside.
Yeah.
So are you excited for season 10?
I'm so excited. Like,
you
guys know I'm a Hardy too. So the more Hope Valley, the better. My mom is also a Hardy, so
Oh.
she,
Mom.
yeah, she watches every week and she texts me about the story. She's always trying to, get hints that I can't give her.
Mom.
So
Trying.
She's got an agenda, huh?
And then when she has a Twitter, but she doesn't tweet that much, but she likes tweets. So when my episode aired, she liked all the tweets about it, good and bad.
I saw your sister on.
My sister
Funny.
is a little bit more Twitter savvy, but
What was
my
mom's
mom-
agenda?
I think she just wanted to remember all the comments. So she was like, this is great. They're talking about it. So she just liked everything. And I'm like, Mom, some of those were not nice.
Right. No, I meant
Read
for
them.
what would she have want? What did she want in season 9? What was her? Did she have a wish list?
She likes to see some of the Mountie stuff. So she was excited. I was happy that 9 had some, good Mountie scenes. She likes the Mountie scenes. She likes the romance. She likes Rosemary. She didn't think she was going to like Rosemary first when she first started watching the show. She was like,
Everybody felt that way.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But now she loves Rosemary. So she loves all the Rosemary scenes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And was she a Hardy before you joined the show, or did she basically start watching it when you did?
She started watching it when I did. When, I told her I was interviewing for it. She's like, oh, I'll watch it. I'll watch a couple episodes. And then she called me because she had finished the whole series.
So she was the start of the Bible.
So she loves the show. Although she forgets things between the seasons. So she'll be like, and I'll be like, it's this and this and this and this. And then she'll be like,
I'll remind you, Mom.
And then don't worry, I got it. I'll remind you. Yeah.
So good. Well, you've been so generous to come back and do a little postseason recap. That was so nice of you, Allie. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I love chatting, and even though I'm not quite so Facebook savvy yet, I still see the posts on Facebook. I occasionally like them, figuring it out.
Well, we're happy to have you jump in and correct us on any detail at any time, because we know you're the source.
I'll go into my Bible.
But mostly we just are sending you blessings as you guys write and produce more magic, and we're just sending you good writer mojo.
Thank you very much. And I just want to say again, thank you to you guys for doing these heart to hearts, because I know that it was a lot of work. I can only imagine how much time you guys put into this. And I can see how much energy and how organized you are. And I've talked to a lot of the other people who've done these chats, and everybody's impressed, and it's
so
a
nice.
great part of the show. And I love watching them. I learn stuff from them that I maybe haven't heard from the people that I'm working with every day. So I don't know, it's really special that you guys have done this. So I just want to say, thank you again.
Well, it was John Tinker who opened that door, and we just were completely overwhelmed by the response and spent a very busy 14 weeks producing them. But my dog is very happy that I'm going to maybe have a little more attention. Maybe my husband would like to see me too. So we're about ready to take a little break from Heart to Heart, but hopefully we'll be back with some more juicy stuff again.
Yeah. Things gear up.
Indeed. All right. So thank you, Hearties, for joining us. And this has been Heart to Heart.